Hello friends, welcome to this tutorial on how to design automated performance scorecard. As we see on the screen, we have a scorecard for 4 staff in an organization. They've been assigned some target to sell, to meet in terms of their sales. Over here we have these indicators. These are the different brands of cars. These are their targets. This is the actual performance in terms of number, the number of units to sell and the actual number at the end of a review period. And then here we have the performance in percentage. So over here we have a guide, a rating guide. This guide is telling us if the performance is between 0 to 50%, the rating is E, and then the color code is red, and so on and so forth. So what happens here is we plot in the target given to each staff, as you can see on the screen, and then these are their corresponding performances. And then this is also auto-calculated based on the values imputed for target and actual. And this is made to return the value here. Okay, so the scorecard has been programmed to return a color that corresponds to the percentage performance over here. And likewise, this rating here is also automated to return a rating alphabet based on the score. So now let's do some substitutions of values here and see how it plays out. So if this moves from 89 to, let's say, 120, well, you enter, this is 60%. Over here you see it is within this range between 51 to 65%, and the rating is D. You can see this is here. What if this goes up, let's say, to 150? There is a change. The percentage changes to 75%, which falls in this band, and it is B. You can see that the rating changed from D to B. The same thing happens when you change any figure in any of these other indicators. Say this for Toyota, this person scores 170, rising from 150 to 170. Previously we had a 60% performance and D rating. So when this increases, the performance also improves, and then it goes higher to the next band, which is C, which is corresponding to the rating guide that we have here. Now the same thing applies to this other stuff if you plot in their figures. So what we are going to be doing in this video is to demonstrate how this can be automated, so that you can just put it on your dashboard, and then as inputs for sales are happening, these are automatically changing accordingly. So we are going to start. I have a demo sheet here. Everything is empty apart from the guide and then these indicators. Well, I'm not going to take time to demonstrate how this is formatted to look like this. It's elementary, and we believe that it's something that viewer can actually work on. Our major focus now is how to make this to automate, change colors, and automatically insert the ratings. All right, so there are 2 basic things that we need to do. First, we need to put in our figures here, and then put the operation that will return the percentage performance. Thereafter, we do the formatting and the use of functions. So let's start with the simple ones. So we want to assume, let's say we give this person a target of 100. Okay, let's just randomly assign the target. This is 150. This is 120. This is 105. It doesn't matter what, but when you are applying this in your job, those targets are definite as given by either your supervisor or your funder. So for Volvo, let's say we have 90. Great. Now here, we all know that percentage is what you achieve. You divide this by the target. And then you now transpose this to percentage. So if we give 50 here, of course 50 out of 100 is 50%. That will give us 50% there. If we say 70, of course it's going to give us 70. Great. So since this scorecard is going to have just this figure here, we might as well just do this and then link it to here so that it can return the value that we have here. Okay, so I need to centralize this, bring it up, probably to make it bold. So we have this. Now, if this changes to 76, we have 76 here, which has also come to this point. So I am going to duplicate this format. I double click here, I drop it here for the rest of this. Now, I can also copy this. So I drop them here. Of course, this is using relative references. That's why I'm able to copy and paste there. I do not necessarily need to input the formula. It will take me time. So if I want to check, if I double click here, it's taking the quotient of this and this. See, it's also taking the same thing. This is because it's a relative cell referencing that we applied here. All right, so what is now left for us is, so let me just color this something like this so that yes, this is what will be changing. Okay, so I'm going to drop this here, actual. All right, so I need not use the same figures here, but I just put that figure there, that format in here to let us know where we need to change figures for actual performance. Great, so this is now set. All I need to do is, I can also go ahead and copy this. Now let's see if this will work. If I drop it here, see, this is making reference to this percentage because it is an relative referencing that we applied here, this and this. Okay, so I can as well go ahead and drag this. If I double click here, it's showing that this is what is being transferred to that point. Okay, so the same thing here, we are going to merge this so that it becomes one cell. So this is where we begin our formatting and insertion of our functions. So let me do the function first. So we are going to say we want this to return a value if, so the if function is we want any value that falls between 0 to 50%. Now I'm going to deliberately make an error so that I can use it to buttress a point. Now we are saying a percentage, a value that falls between 0 and 50. It should return E. So how do we do that? So we are going to say if here is greater than 0, then it has to be, we need to use a command that will ensure that the figure does not pass 50. For instance, if we leave this at this point and somebody scores 60, this 60 is above this. So we need to restrict the value that we are looking at this very point in time to be a range between 0 and 50. So the best thing to do is for me to use a combination of and then if. So I am going to put my and here right now. So you can see I have if and. So the if and is saying what I want to do is that I want this, let me see what that figure is. Great, so it's H3. You can see it here. So if H3 is greater or equal to 0, that is the first one. Then the second one, which must be and, is going to look into the other extreme value. So we say again, E3 must be less or equals to 50. We close the bracket. So what we have done here is we're asking Excel to look for this H3 value. If the value is greater or equal to 0, so we have taken care of this left side of the range. 0 falls in within here. It is either 0 or greater than 0. So anything from 0 up to 50, it should stop. So you see the next value from 0 going upward towards 50 should be equal to 50 or less than 50. So this defines the first range. Now, if the value that we are looking for falls within this range, what should it give us as an answer? Is E. And because E is a text, so I'm going to return it in double quotes. Having defined the value if it is true, I confirm that by putting a comma. And then when we are using if, we also need to define what we want returned if the value is false. Like you can see on the screen tip, it's asking if the value is false, what should Excel do? We are going to instruct Excel, if the value is false, that means the value should be considered if it falls within 51 to 65. Looking at this band now. So we are going to tell Excel, if the value that is in H3 does not fall within this value, this range, now test again. So we are going to put another if now. And because it's a range, we're also going to use and. So we're still going to use H3. So if H3 is greater or equals, now we are looking at this point now. It should be greater than 50. Now, no need to put 50. If we are going, no need to put equals, except we want to use 51. However, if we use 51, what happens if a value is 50.5, 50.8, or any fraction above 50? If any fraction above 50 is what the H3 is, it therefore means that it will not be captured in our definition. So that's why it's important for us to make sure that all our ranges cover all possibilities. So having said that, I'm going to remove this equal, and I say, let it be greater than 50. So the first one is, it is greater than 50. So it's running from 50.1 upward up to 65. So I need to make it stop at 65 at this point in time. So I'm going to say H3 is either less or equals to 65. I close the bracket. So these small brackets here that are just in front of and, these are the conditions that must be met to define this range. So having defined this and, I'm going to put a comma to indicate or confirm that I'm done defining that and. Now Excel is asking, so if the value falls within this range, what should it return? Because we are dealing with the second band, it is D. So D is a text and it's going to be in double quotes. I end that. Again, it's asking if it is false, what should it do? I want it to still test again. To test, and of course, we have and. We are still looking at H3. So if H3, we're looking at this band now, band C. So it's something that has to be above 65. 65. Okay, so if we have 65.1, because here we say it should be less than 65 or equal to 65. So if we have 65 point something, it should be captured in this band that we are defining now. So that's why we are using H3 should be greater. Okay, it should be greater than 65. Should be greater than 65. And H3 should be less or equal to the maximum range here, which in this case is 70. So I put 70, I close the bracket for the and. We are done with the and I'm confirming that my logical test is done. So if the value that is in H3 falls within this range, what letter or what rating should be returned? Remember, we are looking at C, at this band, so it should return C. I confirm that. If it is false, go ahead and still test, and then I still need to use my AND because it's a range. I'm still using my H3, so the H3 now is less than, okay, H3 is less than or equal to 71. We are on the B now. So the lowest band is, it should be greater than 70. Okay, should be greater than 71, right? Actually, let's put equal there so that if there is 71, it can capture it. Okay, it's 71. Okay, and we also need to put our and here. This thing is I think it's because of this. Okay, so I need to expand this so that it can go straight, and because I'm in the middle of a function, I don't want to get complicated. Don't want it to get complicated. Okay, so I'll just remove this equals here, and then I enter. Okay, I need to I want this thing to come out, or I continue over here. Okay, so I can continue over here. So let me put back my equal sign here. So let me just continue over here in this formula bar. So let's just focus on this formula bar here. So if and H3, we are looking at the C band right now, it should be equals or greater than 71. And this next one is H3 should be less or equal to the, we're looking at okay, B now, that's 80. Okay, less or equals to 80. So we close the bracket, we are done with that. So if the value is true, okay, we want it to return B. And if it is false, let us check again. Put and here. And we are still testing with H3. So H3 now is less or equal to, remember we are on A now. So it should be greater. It should be greater or equal to. it should be greater or equals to 81, or H3 should now be less or equal to 90. You can see here that's the extreme point of our range. Now, if this value is true, we are looking at A now. So it should give us A, comma. If it is false, let us still test again and using AND. We are still looking at H3. So the H3 now should be greater or equals to, okay, we are looking at A plus now. All right, so this is the final one, so we don't really need to use this. I think just anything greater than 90. If H3 is greater than 90, going forward up to 100, up to more than 100, whatever the value we have there, if this value hits that, okay, that is what we want. If the value is true, if it is above 90, remember that in the category of A, the band A is capturing 90. So if we have anything 90.1, it falls into A+. So that's why we have, if it is greater than 90, whatever the extra value is that is above 90, let it return A+. So we have A+ here. Okay, so I put this in double quotes again. Now, because we have used several ifs, we must also use corresponding number of closing brackets. So then now let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if functions, all nested in one cell. So we are going to close the bracket 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We enter. Okay, so here 76. Let's see what we got. 76 is E. 76 is E. You see here, it's an error. Now, the reason why this may be so, you know, I initially told us I'm going to deliberately make an error. This is looking at percentage, whereas what we have inserted here are just whole numbers. Okay, so we need to be careful that whatever we have here is also corresponding to our definitions. All right, so I'm going to put percentages here. It's going to take me a while, but I think it's worth it. 65% over here, 65% over here, 70%, 71%. Here we have 80%. Let's see here, we have 81%. We have 90%. Then we have here 90% also. So now 76, which is here, has now correctly been placed here. So let's do a little bit of formatting here. Let's take this up. Let's do this. Okay, so here also we have employed relative cell referencing. So I can simply drag here and bring it here. Now you see that automatically these have returned E because these are all 0% performance, which corresponds to this. Now let's test this. If here this is 150 and we have 100, this is 67%, which falls in here, 67 here, and this is C. So we have it here. So if we test this again, now let's say this person is so ambitious that he was able to hit 125. Of course, we know this is more than 100% performance, and he gets an A+. All right, so the same thing here. Now let's see, we have A, B, C, D. What do we have in D? D is 51 to 65%. Okay, so this is 105. Let's say if we have 52, it should fall into this group. This is E, good. So it falls in here. The next letter we don't have here yet is, let's get an A, just A. So A is 90%, 81 to 90%, okay? So what will likely give us this? Let's say if we have 80 here, good, 80 will give us an A. Okay, so this is how we do the first one using our if and function all together. Okay, as you look through the video, I would like you to pay close attention on those errors that are likely to occur. Some of them we try to avoid them, and then you can actually expand this your formula bar to see it very well. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we need to put this color code so that these values will match the color code here. So with that, we are going to use conditional formatting. Okay, so I am going to select this here. So let me go to conditional formatting here. I'm going to create a new rule. I don't know if you are very conversant with the preliminaries, the fundamentals of conditional formatting. So I am doing it under the assumption that you have some knowledge. It's just for us to look through and see what and how to apply them. Okay, so we are going to use this number 2 because we are dealing with a range. So we are going to format only cells that contain values between this and this. Okay, so what do we do? Again, when you are looking at this point, you also make sure that the values you are putting here are in percentage. Okay, so the first one is pure red, very light shining red. This is dull red, this is light red. Okay, so between 0 and 50%. 50% is also 0.5. Okay, so if a value falls between this range, it should give us this. Okay, so we okay this. Let's apply this. Okay, so we have applied this. That is rule number 1. Because there are several bands here, we need to apply all the different possible values and ranges in this particular cell. So secondly, we're still going to use this cell value now between, right now we're looking at 51 and 65%. So 51 is 0.51 and the other one is 0.65. So if the value falls between this range, what is the color code? The color code is dark red. So we done that. We apply it. It didn't match. So this value does not fall within this range. So let's get a new rule. A cell value, this is the third one now, between 66% and 70%. So this is the same thing as 0.66 and 0.7. What is the color we need here? This is gold, I guess so. Not very good at colors, but I think this is gold. Okay, so if it falls within 66% and 70%, it should give us gold. Apply it. It's still not within there because this is 76%. So let's go to the next rule. Contains this. So if the cell, the next one we're looking at is B now, which is yellow. So it has to be 0.71 to 0.8. What is the color code? Yellow. Okay, so we okay this, we apply it. You see now, this falls within the range, so it has automatically applied it. We're not done yet. We have green and blue. So let's go next. Here we're looking at 81 and 90. 0.81.9. What's the color code? Pure green. Okay, that's apply it, and then the final rule, cells that contain, okay, right now we are going to pick, because we say greater, it's no longer a range, so it's from 90 point something above 90 to infinity. So we are going to say not here, not here, not here, but this, greater than 90.9. And what's the color code? It's very bright blue. So once we are done, we apply. We are good to go. Now, because this and this, they contain the same functions and the same formatting should apply. So what I should do is to drag this and drop it here. And then you see automatically that these, all of them have changed in line with their corresponding values here. Okay, see, this is 104, this is here, 67, just like we demonstrated. Now, for the rest of this stuff, all I need to do is I can pick all this, copy them. The reason why I'm very comfortable copying them is because I understand cell referencing in Excel, absolute and relative cell referencing. So this is done. So let's test for each of them. This one that I just copied now, assuming all of them, they have the same target for each of these indicators or cars. They have the same target for each of them. The only thing that differs now is their performance. So let's say this person performed 67. It has changed. And then this person performed, let's say, 90. It changed. And then this person performed 101. Very ambitious. Goes there. Okay, so this is how to prepare an automated performance scorecard. Now, you may take extra step to create another sheet where you are putting in, either on monthly basis or quarterly basis, or as the case may be, the individual performances of each of these staff, so that as you are plotting in those values at the end of each review period, they are auto-calculated here, so that on another sheet you have your input sheet for each of these people, and as you are imputing them, these values are added up and automatically these are changing. All right, so I hope you find this video interesting. We believe so. There are still more of these that will be coming our way, and so we encourage you to subscribe to the channel and then share with others. As soon as we release more videos like this, you'll be very, very happy to get our notification. So thanks very much for your time.